Welcome, mortal souls, to Strange Darkness Radio. Within the echoes of our hosts' haunting voices, terror weaves through the airwaves like a malevolent symphony. I am Benson, your spectral guide, leading you into the uncharted realms of the macabre. Brace yourself for a descent into a paranormal abyss with hosts Bobby Washington, Carolyn Grey, and Amy Tydeman. They traverse through tales that linger in the shadows, spectral apparitions, haunted domains, cryptids, and otherworldly encounters. Embrace the darkness, extinguish the lights, steel your nerves for a bone-chilling night into the heart of the unknown. It's time for Strange Darkness Radio.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh, can you feel it coming in the air tonight?
Welcome back to another episode of Strange Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Bobby Washington, along with
Carolyn Grey.
Amy Tydeman.
How's it going, ladies? How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. No,
Day. I had an
You
eventful
are?
day.
Like a bad day? What's going on?
Like a bad day.
Spill the tea, Carolyn. Spill the
Yeah,
tea.
spill the tea, Carolyn. The listeners want to know.
I'm going to leave our listeners with a cliffhanger, and I'm going to save it for next weekend because I am just not in the mood.
Oh, wow.
What?
Okay.
It was a bad day.
You guys have to stay tuned for that one.
Oh,
Tune in next week.
Some juicy.
Well, I
Okay.
can't wait to hear this then.
I'll text you guys.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. I love juicy conversations. So I can't wait to hear that one.
How was your guys' weekend?
I had a great weekend. I had an amazing weekend.
We both did, right, Bobby?
Yes.
We got to meet someone really interesting this weekend.
Oh, yes, we did. Who is that, Amy? Who did we get to meet this weekend?
Mr. Jim Gray. He's a pretty cool guy.
Yes.
Father of one of the SDR hosts. Yeah, we met Carolyn's dad, and he's a pretty cool guy. And
How did that go?
it was pretty good. Your dad is, like you said, he's super, super smart. And I feel like the next time I meet him, I need to study like for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, next time we should be prepped.
Yeah, I was not prepared, but he had a lot of information and a lot of cool information, things that I did not know about. So he's a really lovely guy. Yeah, I really liked him a lot.
What did you guys talk about
Oh, we talked about you for sure.
besides me?
So yeah, because we're fans. In case you guys don't know, we are going to do some co-host interviews with each other just to get a little bit more information about each other and get you guys a little bit more dirt on the host of Strange Darkness
More
Radio.
tea.
And this
I don't know
comes.
if I like that, but
This actually
Okay.
comes from Carolyn. So she
Going
wanted to do
first.
this. It was a great idea. So happened her dad wanted to meet up. He is where we are. She is not. And it was a great time. Your dad is freaking amazing. He is a hoot as far as his deadpan jokes, or just not even jokes, just how he thinks and the things that he says. He's just so serious but kidding at certain points, especially about you. But great guy, very knowledgeable, smart is, I don't know what, just an incredible man. And, I told him, I was like, man, you got lucky to have a father like him. So yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy.
yeah, you
Definitely.
kind of look you look like him too. I can definitely see the similarities there. Yeah.
That is so
Yeah,
true.
I look like a mix of my mom and my dad for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so funny when Bobby asked me to describe my dad before you guys met with him, like, oh, what's he like? I was like, man, how do I describe him? Because he's really serious, but he also just has the best, like, dry sense of humor. He's really, really smart, really opinionated. But he can tell you anything about history. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
He will look so serious to where you don't know if he's joking or, if he's if he's serious about what he's saying. And like I said, he's a great guy, and it was a pleasure to meet him. And yeah, there's more to come about that as we go forward. So listeners, there's going to be a couple of more surprises and treats for you when it comes to Carolyn's dad, and with the information that we gotten from him to utilize for her interview when it is time. So it's all going to be.
I told you guys not to talk about
That
me.
sounded kind of like blackmail or something.
Well,
what did he tell you? What do you know?
You will find out along with the listeners. You will find out along with the listeners. But no, that was really cool and awesome. And he loves the show. He loves you on the show. And it was really cool. Really cool. Really nice time. Really nice time.
Yeah, he listens to all of our shows. So
yeah.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Jim.
Yes, hi, Mr. Gray. So that was amazing. Me and Amy and Jim met up for the weekend, and it was really cool. Hot. We didn't get the seats we wanted. And,
it was 104 degrees, and they had, we were sitting outside. So next time.
No wonder you looked miserable, Amy.
I did not look miserable in that picture. Yeah, Carolyn said I looked uncomfortable in the picture. I'm like, I wasn't uncomfortable, though.
We were all squeezed in on the photo. Amy was like, do you want to get away? One of those.
Yeah, I do have an RBF. Yeah, I told her dad about my RBF. So he already is aware that is my normal expression. So don't take
That's your happy face.
That was my happy face.
That was too funny.
I was ecstatic in that picture. Yeah, what are you talking about?
You guys are going to see that picture. I don't know. Because you would thought one of us did something wrong. It was either me or Jim did something wrong, so.
It looks like someone's holding a gun under the table.
Because of my expression? What? I feel like, are you kidding me? Because when I look at that picture, I look normal. That's how I look in pictures. Like, I don't have big smiles in pictures. That's just like, I don't know. I feel like I look normal, so I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah, that's hilarious.
We'll let the listeners decide. I'm going to post that on our IG.
Exactly.
Okay, well, everyone, that's how I look. So sorry, but I had a fabulous time. Yeah, so
I'm glad.
That's too funny. Well, I wanted to get into another subject, but I'm not sure if we're going to have the time, only because we do have a guest coming on tonight's show, and she's freaking amazing. She is a tour guide. Well, she's a lot of things, and
she's a lot of things.
Yes, and Benson will explain all those things of what she's into and what she does. But for now, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back, and hopefully you will have a guest that will make you want to go to Monterey, or at least go on a ghost tour. Let's say that. All right, we'll be back.
Thanks for listening to Strange Darkness Radio, where you can indulge in all kinds of spooky entertainment and stories about ghosts, UFOs, cryptids, and other unexplained occurrences. If you have your own story to tell, contact us at 916-741-3032 or by emailing strangedarknessradio@gmail.com.
Now let's get back to Strange Darkness Radio.
Whose sexy voice was that?
I was going to say, I love the sexy saxophone music in the background.
I had to do it.
Like some other kind of commercial break.
Damn. So, Amy, you didn't like that bumper of yourself? It's too much of a jazz feel.
No, I liked it. Yeah, Carolyn loved it.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Okay, I wasn't trying to be sexy when I did that bumper. Just so
I thought it was an AI voice at first because it sounded so good.
Yeah, when she did it, and I was like, "Well, what fits that?" And I was like, let me, because I didn't want to have her do it over. I was like, "Well, it's more of a, laid back jazz feel to it." So, I'll go ahead and make it into that type of little promo spot. So
I think it's pretty cool, Bobby. I was just teasing about the
no, it's funny.
The sexy voice thing. Obviously, I don't think I have a sexy voice. That was a joke.
We'll let the listeners see and have their opinion on it.
We'll put it to a vote.
I think Carolyn was dead on. So let's go ahead and get into our guest for tonight's show, and we'll let Benson introduce her. Here we go.
Welcome, brave souls, to the realm where darkness whispers and shadows dance. You've tuned into Strange Darkness Radio, where the veil between worlds grows thin. I am Benson, your spectral guide from beyond, leading you through tonight's journey into the unknown. Tonight, we have a special guest who brings a unique blend of the ethereal and the spirited. Courtney Whitcraft, co-host of the fascinating podcast Spirits and Cousins, joins us. Courtney and her cousin Tish explore the world of spirits, both the kind you sip and the kind that haunt the night. Their podcast delves into paranormal investigations, haunted locations, and the technology used to communicate with the other side, with a particular focus on the haunted destinations of California. Recently, our very own Bobby embarked on a ghost tour in Monterey, California, guided by none other than Courtney Whitcraft herself. Monterey, a town steeped in history and mystery, revealed its spectral secrets to Bobby under Courtney's expert guidance. Courtney isn't just a tour guide, she's a seasoned paranormal investigator with over 15 years of experience. As a photographic medium, intuitive, and energy healer, she has the remarkable ability to sense the unseen and communicate with spirits. A balanced approach to the paranormal, combining belief with a healthy dose of skepticism, ensures that not everything is taken at face value. On Spirits and Cousins, Courtney and Tish share their ghostly adventures, including their investigation of the Monterey Hotel, where room 217 is said to be the most haunted. They also explore the haunted history of Cannery Row and other eerie locations in Monterey. Their podcast is a treasure trove of supernatural tales, interviews with metaphysical practitioners, and discussions about the tools and techniques used in their investigations. Courtney's passion for the paranormal and her deep connection to Monterey's haunted history make her an extraordinary guide through the shadows. She has encountered spirits, entities, UFOs, and elementals, and she brings these experiences to life with vivid detail and a touch of skepticism. Now let's welcome the extraordinary Courtney Whitcraft to our spectral airwaves.
Welcome, Courtney, to Strange Darkness Radio.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no,
Thanks for
you.
coming on.
Yeah, definitely. So, how I met Courtney and why she's on the show. I went to Monterey, first time ever going to Monterey, which was awesome.
What?
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, first time.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Monterey was, I heard about it. I've talked, we've talked about going and everything else, but just never got around to it. Always went to San Francisco, LA, all kind of different other trips, and finally, went to Monterey. So it was amazing too. I couldn't believe it.
Long overdue. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So on that, we did there's a ghost tour, and we're like, oh, we got to take the ghost tour. And so went on the ghost tour, met Courtney. She was amazing. her explanation of all that was going on in Monterey and how detailed she was, and just everything about her as a tour guide was so incredible. I was like, Courtney, you have to come on my show. She's like, come on, your show. Oh, that would be cool. But I have a show too. I was like, oh, serious? So yeah. And then we got to talking, and so here you are, Courtney. Welcome.
Thank you. You were so fun to have on that tour.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Hey, so Benson probably explained a lot about what you do and everything else, but tell us, in your own words, a little bit about yourself and just how you got interested in this whole paranormal realm.
Well, where to even start? I've been doing this for quite a while, but more as a hobby on the side and just having fun with it. When I was in my 20s, I was noticing I'd walk into a room, and even though I would be happy, all of a sudden I'd turn really cranky or angry. And I was like, what's up with this? So I dug into some things and finally realized that I'm an empath, and I'm a very strong empath. And so I actually found a witches' coven area in St. Paul that did meet and greets. And I started meeting people just to try and figure out, what is this thing? What is this empath thing?
Yeah.
And that was back when we had dial-up internet.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, we're going way back, way back.
Or that was all I could afford, was dial-up. And that journey is what started me on this paranormal one, is realizing that I'm an empath and the different things or abilities that come along with it. So in that story, that's when also I met some other people and come to realize that I am more sensitive than just being an empath, that I can sense energies around me. I can sense shifting energies. Plus I can do some healing work around that too.
Oh, amazing.
So that's the very short of it.
Yes.
What made you decide to look into the witchcraft group? Was it just something you were interested anyway, so you decided to look that up, in addition to the other things you were going through? Or was that just kind of the only thing around you that kind of matched like the I guess the characteristics of what you were going through?
At that time, I was living in St. Paul, Minnesota. And so I had a lot of access to a bunch of different groups of people, but I had no idea where to look. I grew up very, very Catholic, and this wasn't something at all that was in the realm of my thinking, or I had no idea what metaphysics was at that point.
Yeah.
And even paranormal to some extent. I knew about ghosts, but I probably hadn't heard much about the word paranormal. And so I just found an ad that said meet and greet, and it was at a local witch place. It is now, since it's been gone quite some time. I missed having them there. It was really fun just to meet different people and to experience what life was like for them too, and to hear for the first time ever that there are other people who are like me. So it wasn't necessarily that they were pagan or Wiccan. It was more that they were speaking this language that I had just was trying to figure out within myself.
Yeah, and the Catholic Church doesn't want you going down that realm and asking anyone those type of questions. You're already aware that that's taboo and something that you don't even, touch. So
yes. Well, luckily my family is pretty open-minded, but I still kept very quiet about this whole journey, mostly because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that it would lead me into doing these things that I am able to do today.
So I have two questions about that. Are you still Catholic? Do you still consider yourself a Catholic?
No.
No.
I am not religious at all. I'm not even pagan or Wiccan. But what I like to do is I took pieces from the different parts of religion that I liked and took it into what I needed it for. So just like being kind to everyone, being respectful.
Right.
I love being out in nature, and that's what's really important for me. Like where my folks would be like, we got to go to church. And I'd be like, no.
Yeah, it's very rigid. Going to church, it's very, not open-minded. And so you said you're an empath, but then from there it kind of progressed as you practiced and realized you had these other abilities. So what do you consider yourself now? Like a psychic intuitive or just highly empathetic, or what exactly are your capabilities, I guess?
If I have to use one word, it's intuitive. I'm an intuitive. But I do a variety of things. So I have medium photography where I take pictures and I get really odd things that a lot of people just don't get. And that was, I was actually on one of my friend's ghost tours. She used to lead one in Minneapolis. And that's where I discovered this paranormal stuff.
Oh, okay.
Or that I can do different things like take pictures and get really odd things on these pictures.
So you're kind of like a magnet for spiritual energy, like it's attracted to you.
I think
for some
so.
reason.
Yeah.
If someone's standing next to you and they're taking that same photo, but if you're taking that photo with your energy and how you come across to the entities, you're able to crystallize them on that film or digitally into that photo, correct?
Yes, and that is exactly how it happened. So I was on this tour with a friend of mine and just taking some pictures, and I was like, what are these weird things in it? And it was orbs, which can be dust, it can be water, but it also could be something.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, that's really interesting. You have a lot. And other people started noticing, and they said, well, wait a minute, let's take a picture at the exact same time and see what happens. And then we did, and I got so much more beings, different
energy
showing up, and a person, I think, got nothing.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, what are like some of the most interesting things that you've come across when you were doing your photography work?
There is a troll who lives under the shed
What?
A shed in Wisconsin. Yes, I like a red troll that pops out of the shed occasionally. I've got.
You have pictures of this?
I do.
I want to see. Oh my gosh! Oh, that's crazy. That sounds like a fairy tale or something.
I have pictures of some angels. I also have. I was flashing on also.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's hear about the troll. I want to hear more on the troll. So you actually captured
See a friend of yours
of this troll-like figure on, digital photography or something like that?
Yes. You have a picture of him.
So what came across your mind when you're seeing this entity on this film? Did it startle you? Did it make you want? So did you go into the shed? Did you try to interact with it? What's the story?
No, I go into that shed often enough. He just showed up in a picture, and I immediately was like, oh, it's a troll. No big deal.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm so just chill about it. And other people are usually like, what in the world?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really cool. I usually get pretty excited though.
Yeah.
I mean, it still is really fun to get neat things in photos.
Mm-hmm. So did you feel the energy of because obviously when you walked into the shed, this troll wasn't there in the, on our plane. So did you at least feel the energy of something being there also along with that photo?
No, I usually did not feel that troll hanging out too much.
Oh, okay.
It's with the angels, in the photos I have of angels, I absolutely felt them.
Oh, okay.
I would feel a peace come around me and then just intuitively feel like I needed to take a photo. And I would take a photo and like, oh, wow, that's really interesting.
And are you pretty good at
this? Go ahead, Carolyn.
Well, just when you take these photos and you capture different things, are you pretty good at just determining what they are? Like, you know that those certain pictures are angels, but then versus this troll creature, what do you think that is? Just some energy or?
Intuitively, I usually know, but there's always some things that I'm up in the air about. Like I have this picture of what it looks like to be a fairy, but I had this strange peacefulness come over me. This has happened a couple times, and it doesn't look like pictures of angels I've taken in the past. So I'm still unsure if it's an elemental or an angel. So there's some things that I'm still like, I don't know, it could be either, but it's really cool, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there are others that I know pretty quickly what it is.
And so you are also ruling out pareidolia, right? As far as,
Yes.
okay, when the,
Yes.
your
I'm
mind
glad
is
you
putting,
asked that.
putting the image together to make it like a human face or a figure that we're aware of, whether it's a shape of a human, a dog, something that we normally see on a day-to-day basis. You know, our mind tends to try to make it to something that we've seen before.
Yes. No, I debunk. That is very important to me. And that's what I liked about your intro, is that debunking piece is very important, because I find that when you actually experience something that's paranormal, it's very special. And so, and it doesn't happen as often as people think it does. And that's where it is important to debunk, because you might see a flashing light come through windows and you're like, oh my gosh, look, oh, it's a spirit flashing a light. And it's like, well, no, a car just turned the corner down that way. And I'd rather be honest about it and debunk it.
Yes.
Because then it's that much more exciting when something real happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when something truly paranormal happens, you can't debunk it. You can try, but you know, at the end of the day, you know what it is.
Yes. Yep.
I'm curious if, do you think that some of the things that show up in your photographs are like people that are trying to communicate with you to communicate with their loved ones? I mean, do you ever get that feeling or vibe when you're doing this work?
Once in a while, usually it's a kind of an inkling that I'll get if they want me to pass along a message. But typically they often just want to make their presence known that, hey, I'm here. And whenever I'd pass that shed, I'd be like, hey, troll, what's up?
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, I'd love to see that. Yeah.
To be acknowledged. They just want that hello and that you're noticed.
I wonder if that troll's like lonely, like if you're the only one that can see him or something.
There's plenty of other things in that area.
Really? And this is in Wisconsin, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting. 'Cause you don't think about that. You think about, in the sense of seeing something like that, it's more of a fantasy type character opposed to, you know, a demon or a shadow figure that looks ominous and all that. In a lot of other countries, they're on the whole fairy spectrum of certain things. But in, you know, United States, it's more of, you know, did you see Bigfoot? Did you see a shadow figure? Did you see Dogman? You know, some type of cryptid. So that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I think people could look at the photo and wonder if it's something more demon-like, because he looks red. Like,
Oh, okay.
he's red.
Yeah.
And that's where I often talk with people about, you know, it's easy to be scared about the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to not be sure of what it could be and to what could be going on and what's creating this or what's keeping them there. But more often than not, when I encounter spirits or anything elemental, angels, they usually just want to make their presence be known.
Yeah.
And sometimes if it is like the spirit who wants to pass along a message, they usually can somehow figure out how to tell you that. But oftentimes they just want to be acknowledged.
Yeah, exactly.
Courtney, have you heard of CE5?
I have
It's
not.
a group run by Stephen Greer. It's like a group that gets together, and it's different people. They have it all over the country, but they'll get together and they'll meditate and try to make contact with like entities from outer space or from other dimensions. And some of the pictures that they've captured kind of remind me of what you're talking about, because some of them really do look like, it looks almost human, but not quite human and kind of troll-like. So I wonder if that's what you captured, something like that.
Maybe I've captured many different things in that area. And some I think could be more galactic type.
Right, exactly. And I'm sorry, Bobby, just real quick.
No, you're
I'm
good.
curious because I don't know. Can you explain what are elementals?
So elementals are typically beings that have to do with the earth. So it could be like a fairy
fairies.
elemental. Yeah,
Oh.
fairies. Trolls, I guess I consider more of an elemental, but I'm not completely sure other people would. And I pretty much consider anything that's a nature being that is sitting out in nature that doesn't have like a human form to be more elemental. But that's a pretty broad overview. Other people might have more detailed honing in and elementals really are beings that belong to the earth that aren't human.
Interesting.
So also, you mentioned angels. When you see an angel or capture one digitally, what do they look like? Because I've saw various pictures of angels. I've heard a lot of different angel stories of people being visited by angels when traumatic situations occur, like they were in a car accident. So there was someone who came up to them and assured them they were going to be okay and to fight, don't give up, and applying pressure to the wound. And next thing you know, firefighters or police shows up, and then this person kind of slips in the back and just goes away. And they're like, oh, where was the person that helped me and that did all this and did that? And they're like, what are you talking about? There was no one else here. And have you ever captured one of those type of beings on photography? And if so, what did they look like?
No, I've captured other ones that would be interesting to encounter someone like that.
Yeah.
I've encountered several different ones, one of which is very small and tiny, which looks like a fairy. And that's why I've questioned whether it's an elemental or a fairy versus an angel. Mm-hmm. But when I took the photo, this amazing peacefulness came over me. And I just sat in it for a good couple of minutes. And then I just was called to take a photo of this specific area. And then I looked at the photo and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And for the amount of peace that came over me, it's very, very tiny. And this is zoomed in.
Okay.
That's like a light being, like light and color. Oh, that's beautiful.
Wow.
So that's just one.
It does look like a fairy.
And then others have been more full-bodied, not like full apparition, but more of a full body. Yeah, bigger. There's a really cool picture I have where I'll have to find it and show you.
And where were you when you took that picture of the smaller being? You were just in your living room or in your house?
In the backyard.
Oh, okay.
Minnesota.
Okay, so they visit you on a regular basis because they probably feel that energy or can see your light. And a lot of times they can't see. Other people don't even cast off that type of light who have the capabilities that you have.
I think so.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends who are in like the metaphysical world call me a light bringer.
Interesting. That's amazing. And I just want to say, I know that has to give you some assurance about that there is something obviously else for us, and gives you some comfort when it comes to all the craziness that goes on in the world and everything, to have that assuredness, that the comfort to where you know there's something else. It's not even a question for you. When people like myself, even the experiences I've had, I still question a lot of things and looking for answers. But I just know that has to bring you some comfort to know that all these other things exist out there.
I think so. It actually brings me so many more questions and curiosity. But yes, for sure, comfort, just knowing that there's something else out there. I think a lot of people are afraid to die because of that unknown.
Yes.
You know, where do we go? We know where our body goes, but where does our soul go?
Exactly.
And I don't worry about that at all, actually, because I find that having experiences like this with the spirits, with elementals, with these different beings, tell me that there's other things out there that I mean, I try not to be judgmental, but I do wonder, you know, something else out there. We're the only people here. You know, we're the people on Earth, but there's one Earth. There has to be other places like Earth.
Exactly.
And other dimensions that we can't perceive. Sorry.
So, Courtney, I wanted to know, it sounds like everything that you've experienced so far has been positive, but have there been any experiences that have been terrifying for you or things that maybe gave off bad energy?
Terrifying, no. Scary, yes.
Hmm.
And bad energy, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I can't even remember which year, but it happened about 15 years ago. It was one of my very first experiences starting off in the paranormal world after I was shadowing my friend a lot on her ghost tours and starting to do energy work and dive more into this paranormal world. So one night I was invited to an investigation for a building that a friend of mine rented out. And it was a very old building. It's the Stockyard Exchange building in St. Paul. And it was also a Freemason building at one point.
Those are energetic. Those
Yes.
Mason buildings have a lot of energy.
Yes. And there's a lot of spirits that hang out there. And that was definitely not the first negative experience I've had, but the first, what in the world have I gotten myself into experiences? And it took me about a year to fully deal with it. Basically, the entity followed me home.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, here we go with Amy.
Bobby.
Here we go with Amy.
Okay, that is my fear of going out and doing something like this. And now I have someone that has actually experienced it. Okay, something
Amy,
followed
it
me. Oh
happens.
my god.
We went on a ghost tour.
But I'll
She's
tell you how to
amazing.
avoid-
And it was perfectly fine. Nobody followed me home.
Safe.
And
No, I gotta hear this though. So what happened, Courtney? It followed you home, and what happened?
This is one of the reasons why I now set intentions for every single paranormal thing that I do.
Yes. Oh,
So I
my
went
goodness.
there and I encountered these variety of spirits. There's the school marm, the woman who stands on the balcony and just looks around, protecting everything, everyone and everything. She always looks kind of cranky, but she's good. She's not a problem. She just is supposed to look that way, more intimidating. And then there's a variety of other people, spirits that I encountered, one of which flashed me. I have a
flash. Wait.
Oh, I would love to see
Was
that.
it male or female?
A male.
And it was full apparition, full body, literally.
Not full body, just one part of the body.
Are you serious?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
Wow, a floating worm.
You have to show us that picture.
That's interesting.
Yes.
I will. I encountered there was an entity there. And from the information, and this was all channeled information. I don't have evidence to back this up, but these are the hard parts too, where I'm like, well, I can channel information sometimes, but also getting evidence is really important to me. So it can be hard at times to balance getting information intuitively and also seeking evidence. But so I knew there's something really odd happening there. And I was like, oh, I can take care of this. I got this. I know what I'm doing. No, I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh wow.
I did not. And this is where I really learned you cannot just jump into things. You have to stop and really listen and look around and determine if it is something that you are capable of doing. And in that moment, I was very naively sure I was capable of handling this entity, and I was not.
So did the flasher follow you home?
No, this entity did. I also made another ridiculous mistake. So don't make this mistake.
Okay,
do
tell
not
us.
do EVPs at home.
You said don't do
Interesting.
EVPs at
Do not
home?
do electric voice phenomenons at home.
Wow, interesting.
Wait, have you done that, Bobby?
Yes. When I heard well, let me, Courtney, real quick. Let me explain.
Sorry.
I was doing some show stuff. I was in, if you guys know Rev Run, the bubble bath thing. I'm a bubble bath guy. I'm not afraid to say that. But anyway, so I was in the taking a bubble bath and doing show notes, literally with my phone and bubbles. I heard what sounded like girls jump roping in my hallway, and no less than like 5 feet away from me. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? This is late at night and everything. And no one was in the home but me. And so that totally freaked me out. I heard some other things. So I did say, okay, I'm going to let my phone record just so I can capture this, because I froze, actually. I didn't hit record. I didn't do anything. I just froze because I was like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So so that did occur. That's the only time I've done EVPs. I didn't catch anything. I think I recorded for about 2 hours or so. I didn't catch anything, but I've caught EVPs while doing the show and having someone on Skype or on the phone. I've caught EVPs that way. So, which were very interesting because they were actually, as we would ask the guest questions, they would answer before her. And in the software that I use, it didn't even make a spectrum graph. It didn't make any type of wave when it was played, and it was as loud as I am now. And then once I honed in on it and recorded it, then you saw the wave and everything else. So it was totally, totally crazy. But
Wow.
but yeah, but that's the only time. So Amy's like, I'm not going any place.
Well,
I'm not going to your house. Yeah.
I
Wow.
should say never do them. What I should say is always set intentions.
Okay.
And that is the biggest thing when dealing with anything paranormal.
Yes.
So if you're especially scared about going out and the spirit hitchhiking on you home,
Mhm.
you set intentions. And so before every tour that I do, or before any investigation, I just always say, all right, what's mine is mine, what's theirs is theirs. And what I'm coming with, I'm also going home with, and they are going to stay.
So
See,
you
Amy,
say that out loud.
that is not.
You say that out loud before every single time you go out and do something.
Every time.
And why do you think?
And I say it when I get it before I get into my car when I'm done.
Why do you think
Okay.
that works? Is it like because your energy is matching their energy, or because you're creating then like a protective bubble around yourself?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
boundaries. I'm just creating boundaries of like, hey, I want to experience this with you. I want to enjoy conversations with spirits. I want to experience them to the most that they're willing to allow me to. But
So you draw a line.
that's drawing a line
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
because of this experience that I've had.
but I mean, so going back, you had something haunting you for an entire year then?
Well, so I went home, and again, being naive self, just starting in this world, I started doing some EVPs just for fun and didn't set any intentions because I didn't know about all that stuff back then. And then I'd play the EVPs back, and I wouldn't get much except growling. Which
Oh, that's never good.
I want to hear growling.
Oh, that's terrifying. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, it's
Yeah.
a growl. It was.
Wow.
I'm scared way less of paranormal things than I am of like horror movies and violent movies. So
Mm. So how did you get rid of the thing that followed you home then?
So first of all, I realized how I had made a mistake in diving headfirst into trying to move this entity. Move meaning send it to wherever it's supposed to be, which is not at that space. So I had realized that I was in over my head, and I was like, okay, so what can I do to temporarily deal with this until I can figure out how to actually deal with it? So I then took some of the witchy background. So I did take some Wiccan classes. And so I did a binding spell. And so I poured boiling water into a 5-gallon bucket, some black tourmaline, a quartz crystal, and some black salt and some white salt.
Oh, wow.
And then I ladled it around my entire apartment building. And I did a binding spell the whole entire way. It's not a huge building, but the whole entire way. And then through the energy work that I do, I was able to create a gold grid with energy and to place it around the entire building.
And that worked. It got rid of it.
It didn't get rid of it, but it held it back.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. And then I just learned more skills, did more. And then I want to say about a year later is when I was able to finish working on it.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
So do you think it became an attachment to you opposed to just something that was haunting? Because I do hear that people who are able to see these entities or experience them, they feel it also. So they're quick to follow you home or quick to get your attention because they know you can see them. And whether it's be for good or bad, they're trying to either scare you, conversate with you, or just to get some acknowledgement.
Yeah. At that time, was it attached to me? I don't think it was attached to me, but it was absolutely following me around.
It was just trying to scare you.
I think
basically.
Well, yeah, or trying to figure out what I was doing and maybe not prevent in a harmful way, but potentially stop me from doing that or blocking me from doing more. It was definitely following me. I started getting headaches on the back of my neck.
Oh, wow.
And that is now to this day how I can tell I have something following me or an attachment is I get headaches in the back of my neck on my left side.
Wow. Amy, do you get headaches, Amy? Are you
No.
maybe you have an attachment right now.
Well, once in a while, but yeah, I don't think it's anything attached to me, so know. I'm good.
You have the intent of want.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Interesting experience. And I spent the night there.
Oh, that's scary.
Did you fall asleep?
I did fall asleep, not for incredibly long, because especially at one moment where I felt a spirit, not that entity, but I felt the spirit sit down on the bed. And I was like, maybe I should switch rooms.
So before we go to commercial, I want to ask you, so none of this stopped you from going down these avenues to where, you know what, let me pump my brakes and maybe this is something I don't want to entertain?
No, definitely not.
Wow.
I mean, I'm still doing it and more.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and take a break, and then we're going to get into your Monterey ghost tour that you give. And I definitely have to get into your podcast. I want you to tell everyone about that and let us know, because it is an amazing podcast. I love it. I've been binging them and really awesome. So we'll be right back.
To all our devoted listeners out there, we want to extend a heartfelt thank you for tuning in and joining us on our eerie adventures into the unknown. Your support makes each episode of Strange Darkness Radio even more thrilling. Do you have a spooky encounter or bone-chilling tale to share? Don't keep it to yourself. Call our Strange Darkness Radio hotline at 916-741-3032 or drop us an email at strangedarknessradio@gmail.com to be featured on the show. Your story could send shivers down our listeners' spines. Stay connected with us on social media for exclusive updates and behind-the-scenes content. Follow us on Instagram at Strange Darkness Radio, X at SD Radio. And remember, whether you're commuting, unwinding at home, or braving the darkness of the night, you can listen to Strange Darkness Radio on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Let's journey into the unknown together, if you dare.
Okay, Courtney, let's talk about your ghost tour. So since your friend was into and hosting and having ghost tours, is that what got you into it? And because you have the gift of doing that, like, period. So I can't even imagine that someone had to lead you into this, because you seem like a natural.
Oh, thanks. No, it was out of necessity.
Wow.
My rent significantly was increased. And I said, I either need to ask my current full-time job to get more hours, or I need to figure something out. And while I enjoy my full-time job, it is not something I wanted more hours with. I work with kids and families, and I adore them. I'm also a giant introvert.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do something more with my hobbies than with this. And so I'd seen this company, and I was like, oh, let me apply. And I got the job.
Wow.
It sounds like you found the perfect second job.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It gets me more into my hobby, and I love meeting people who also love paranormal. I've moved out here only 3 years ago, so it's been really fun meeting more and more people who are into it.
So back where you lived before, you didn't do ghost tours. You started here then in Monterey.
I started giving ghost tours here in Monterey, but I've been doing all sorts of investigations and some team investigations and stuff for the last 15 or so years.
Wow.
Can I ask something? Because it really didn't click in my mind that Monterey had such a rich history, but it really does, because there were battles fought there, and there were, I don't know exactly, I think it was the Mexican-American Wars and all of that. Like, Monterey is even named after a general, right? And so as I was researching for this episode, I kind of realized, like, wow, there is a lot of history and there probably is a lot of energy. So since living in Monterey, just in your free time, not even doing your ghost tours, have you experienced a lot of energy out there? Have you seen anything or felt anything spirit-wise?
Yeah. So in Minnesota, it was interesting. It was a lot of indigenous intuition things I would get, different conversations. There's also a lot of gangster activity that I would catch on, just because that was a big piece of the history of Minnesota. And then out here, I get a lot of the elementals because I go hiking a ton. And so
in those redwoods, huh?
Yeah, it's so amazing.
Beautiful.
And then here I get a good amount of indigenous, but also just a variety of, I don't know why, but I've been fascinated with the benditos who've been out here in the past. And so that's kind of something I've grabbed onto.
And do you know much about the history of the area?
I do. I didn't realize either when I'd moved out here that this area has such a vast and deep history. And so Monterey was the actual very first capital of California. And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, in the 1500s, Spain came over via ship and was like, and wanted Monterey or wanted California. But then we had all the indigenous tribes and people who lived here, and they were doing really well here. Spain decided to not leave anyone, and then they sailed away. Then they came back, I believe, in the 1600s. And then in the 1700s, they came back and they left Father Junipero Serra here and a bunch of other people. And he started the San Carlos Cathedral. And then he also started the Carmel Mission at Carmel by the Sea.
So in your opinion, what is one of the most haunted places in Monterey that you've experienced, especially with your abilities?
It depends if we're talking about really cool stuff or...
Let's go with both. Let's go with the cool stuff and then the most evilest or the most, oppressing, I'd say, or disturbed.
So one of my favorites, Bobby, is what you got to experience is the Lara Soto Adobe is one of my very favorites. And then the Tiburcio Vasquez house.
Wow. Yeah, they're incredible.
I also really like the jail, and I found out even more history since you came on the tour.
Oh, nice.
About the old jail that we have. So that's been fascinating to dive more into. And then in terms of more of the scary, negative things, Los Coches Adobe is definitely right there.
So you've done a podcast on the Monterey Hotel. I believe it's room 217. So what type of encounters did you have that night?
It was mostly Frank.
Okay.
Frank was so fun. So he was the maintenance worker there, and he was crushed by the elevator in the building itself. It was the old historic elevator. Poor dude. From my understanding, from what the front desk people told me, he lived in room 217.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so we were so excited to experience that. And immediately he joined us. It was so cool. We just set our equipment down. We're going to go eat. And we're like, well, shoot, we might as well stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we hung out with him for a little bit and then went to eat. But what he would do is he'd sit and talk with us, engage with us with different devices for about 20 to 30 minutes and then leave for 20 to 30 minutes and then come back. So it seemed like he was going to fix things.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. And, for the listeners out there, Courtney and her cousin, they have some of the most advanced technical equipment that you can have, and they take it all with them on, ghost investigations. And Courtney, can you tell us a little bit about some of the equipment you guys use? Because I can't even imagine Carolyn with equipment at her hotel that she actually works at a haunted hotel. She'd be like, Bobby, how do I use the devices?
Lugging all that stuff around and figuring out how to work it. Yeah, no thanks.
Exactly. It's so funny.
Some of the more advanced stuff has been a little tricky, but mostly because I think the spirits don't understand how to use it.
Oh, interesting.
So I have this ball that I started bringing with to engage with the boy who is the spirit boy at the Lara Soto Adobe. So I have this little ball, and if you touch it or around it, it lights up, and he does not like it at all.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's because it's so bright and he doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
Back then, when he was alive, they didn't have things like motion detected lights.
Yeah.
They didn't have things that light up like disco balls.
Exactly. That is really true.
How do you know that he's scared of it? Like, are you able to see him yourself or just feel him?
No, I can feel a little confusion surrounding it. And I typically will explain what it is, what he can do with it. And he still does more of the EMF device and also flashlights.
Yeah. And that night, when we were investigating on the EMF that night, it would peak really high. It's like something was coming up to it, then walking away, then coming up to it, then going to someone else's. So it wasn't like to where it was just constant, like you were in a magnetic field or something, an area that was just sending a signal coming through. No, it was going in and out and messing with other EMF readers. So it was a really interesting night. So yeah.
Speaking of all this equipment, so someone sent me a funny video about some of these ghosts have been dead like hundreds of years. How in the world do they know how to use this modern day ghost equipment? He's like, my parents can't even figure out how to work their TV. How do these ghosts know how to use this equipment when they've been dead for so long? So it's just something funny that I thought of when you were saying a lot of them weren't communicating because they couldn't figure out the equipment. But that's kind of a good point, don't you think? Like, how do they know? Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's true. I've never thought of that.
Here's the thing on that real quick, Amy. With the EMF, all they have to do is walk up to it. It's a signal that they're actually putting out. So it's not something they're touching or interacting. Yes, there are lights that people will have and they'll barely screw the light on and it'll make a connection with, their energy. And that's what they believe. Courtney, if I'm wrong, please correct me, that their energy is making that signal connect with the whole light thing. But with a EMF and different type of detectors, they're actually in the area. They're walking up to it. Courtney?
So they're just in the room doing their thing and it captures that. Like they don't have to interact with it necessarily.
No, but they can, especially if you ask yes and no questions,
Yes.
then you are asking them to interact with it. But really, it detects their presence.
Yeah.
And so EMFs are one of the easier devices. I use flashlights also, and spirits tend to like the flashlights a lot. They're maglite flashlights. So you just, like Bobby was saying, you twist the top so it's barely turned off. And then so spirit has to do something to manipulate it in order to turn on the light and to turn off the light.
Yeah, so it's said that when they see the light come on as they approach it, or let's say they reach out their hand to it and then the light comes on, that's a signal like, oh, okay, if I do this, therefore it creates that. So when the person is asking questions, they step back and they say, and they can clearly understand what you're saying. And then to answer the question, do yes, 2 blinks for yes or 1 blink for no. So there's different ways to interact. And the same with the EMF as they approach it, they're able to, you're able to have dialogue that way. I see a lot of investigators do.
Yeah, I also have spirit boxes and
spirit boxes are very interesting.
Yeah, spirit boxes are interesting. Those can be hit or miss.
Is that the one where it kind of flips through channels and then picks up radio? Oh, okay.
Yep. I have dowsing rods, so more old school techniques.
Oh yeah, those are really good. Those are really reliable. It's so interesting for water and spirits. Dowsing rods.
Yeah, and again, they know how to use it.
Yeah. Yep.
And because water dowsing has been such a thing for such a long, I don't even know when, but such a long time that they know how to interact with dowsing rods and pendulums.
Well, that's interesting.
The hard part with things like that is they don't give you, it tells you there's something there, but it doesn't give you direct evidence.
Right. So did you capture any evidence on your last trip to that hotel?
Yeah, at Monterey Hotel. Yes. Well, we have some EMFs, and that was great. We got flashlight. We got him responding via flashlight, so I have some video of that. We did not get anything on the spirit box, and at one point, Tish did see a shadow figure running with its knees really high out a door that was blocked.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard her talking about that on your podcast. It looked like someone was like jumping their knees up really high, kind of like, like when you're in PE class or something and you hold your hand out and you have to hop your knees up to meet your hands. That's what it kind of sounded like to me. But that's pretty interesting. So you guys weren't terrified at all in that hotel room?
No,
no, they weren't, Amy. I'm just.
I try not to be at all.
They're not scaredy cats.
We'll see who the scaredy cat is next time. Okay.
We'll see.
But
if you get scared, and it's fine to be scared. Like there's no judgment, nothing wrong with being scared. If you get scared, though, you have to figure out how to tamper it down, because if there is anything like an entity around that is more that wants to attach or wants to feed off of that, then you have to be a little more careful. And so, like I said, I actually get more scared watching horror movies and violent movies than I do hanging out doing some paranormal.
I like your cousin Tish because she says, I'm scared. Like she'll say straight up, like, no, I am scared of this. I'm interested, I'm curious, but I'm also scared. So,
Courtney, do you have a cat or a pet? Oh, okay. I saw something behind you.
Oh, she's gonna be like, there's an entity on the screen.
Okay.
Turns out. But yeah, this is Beatrix.
Okay. Thought it was a ghost for a sec.
That's funny.
I also have another one, but Beatrix likes to be next to me.
Yeah.
Aww,
so
cute.
How often do you host these ghost tours, Courtney?
Anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week, just depending on how many people sign up.
Yeah, okay. And is this 360 throughout the year, or is this seasonal?
No, it's 360 every day.
Oh, wow.
What's the tour? What's the tour called? Because I actually want to go on this tour the next time I come out to Monterey.
Yay! It's actually through U.S. Ghost Adventures. It's a website, but you can always get my number from the emails or contact Bobby and get my number.
Yes, and we're going, Amy. We're going to stay at the Monterey Hotel.
I am not staying at any haunted places after this conversation or going ghost hunting.
Oh man,
the ghosts are friendly.
I am officially scared again.
Here we go.
I said I was gonna go, and then after we had a couple of people on, I'm like, I'm not going, and then I'm like, oh yes, I'll go. But now, like, I don't know about that. Yeah, I have to think about that one.
The ghost tour is really tame, and I've even had some young kids go on it. And
okay, well, yeah, the ghost tour. Yeah, I'll do the ghost tour.
Pretty chill.
Yeah,
I won't take you to any scary, scary places.
Okay, yeah, we're not gonna go to the Los Coches Adobe.
I will not take you there. I will only go there with people who really, really want to go, and
she really wants to go. She's going to go.
Yeah, What is that? Like just a building that's haunted, or what is it? A location?
It is a building. Los Coches Adobe was a stagecoach inn for people during the gold rush that they were coming through on stagecoaches. And a woman owned it, and it's 2 buildings, a house and then a brown building. She also ran a brothel.
Oh, okay. So maybe
And-
there was like a lot of fights and illicit behavior and
Murders.
Yes, but it was the woman. She
so-
would steal gold and slit their throats and
oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
that's dark. I want to go there.
Do you, Carolyn? You want to go? Oh
Have
my
you
God,
seen that?
that's-
Have you seen that woman there or felt that ghost?
No, I felt the man there though, very, very clearly. And we have that episode up.
Wow.
As soon as I got there, I was like, oh gosh, this place. But the thing is too, and sometimes I do wonder if this is so naive of me, but I don't ever think I'm going to be harmed. And that
Yeah.
could be naive, or it could just be like, no, or it could be I'm manifesting it.
Maybe that's
Yeah.
exactly. Maybe that's what's protecting you.
And
is
you're
just
setting
you not
intention-
allowing
your
I
it.
was
intention.
thinking, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't allow it. And so when we hung out at Los Coches Adobe, it was a lot, but it was interesting. There's a lot that has happened there besides just that woman.
So is that like, do they offer ghost tours and people know how evil it is and they go there, or
No, it's not.
No, it is closed.
Yeah.
We just stood. We parked in the parking in the driveway,
Yeah.
and we just stood there.
So we're not in the building
We didn't go
itself.
inside.
Yeah.
They're not-
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting.
Would you go inside if you could?
Yeah.
I would go inside also, and I would take Amy in there.
Too.
Bobby, okay,
Drag
you know
her.
what? Bobby keeps talking about all these ghost huntings he wants to go on. Not one has he gone on. I do not believe
I went on the
that
ghost
you-
tour.
He
That's-
went without you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
a ghost tour is completely different than doing a ghost hunt. Like, I think you would be terrified, Bobby.
Courtney
like,
knows
he is
when I
all
go back.
talk, people.
When we go back, I'm going to say we. I'm not going to say I. When we go back, we're going to do a ghost, some kind of other type of ghost tour with Courtney, to where we're really going to see what we can get into. So yeah, we will.
We will.
It'll happen.
Okay, well, yes, I would go with Courtney. Courtney sounds legit, like she knows what she's doing. I don't know about Bobby. So.
I will not keep you. I'll keep you safe from humans, but I can't say like whether or not I can keep you safe from entities.
All right, well, I'm hanging out with Courtney.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
man.
would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
So Courtney, tell us about your podcast, because your podcast is so freaking awesome. You guys are so detailed in your information. I love the go between you and your cousin. And how did you guys come up with your name? The whole play on spirits with the drinking thing and spirits and all that.
Well, so the day we were set to record our very first podcast episode, we were very ready to say West Coast Paranormal.
Okay.
Original.
Yep, right. and then we were pouring ourselves a drink. It was probably Buffalo Trace because it's my favorite,
Oh,
my
okay.
go-to. We were pouring a drink, and I was like, spirits. Spirits, what? And we're cousins, so we
Yeah.
just totally did an about change.
Nice.
And
Nice.
spirits and cousins.
I love the name.
That
I
is
do
so
too.
awesome.
Whiskey and bourbon, so we're like, might as well incorporate
Yeah,
something else we enjoy.
exactly.
So that's how we came up with the name. Tish and I have so much fun with it. She's more the tech host, and I do the other stuff, and we just have a lot of fun with it.
And do you always get drunk before your ghost hunts?
You mean podcast?
Actually, never, because that is not a good thing to
Not a good mix.
before you go do ghost stuff.
Okay.
Just a little bit before the podcast.
Do you guys
Right.
have guests on your show, or just you two all the time? You know, for the podcast.
No, we've had some guests. Yeah, we have James Anito. We've had him on twice now, although the second episode with him on isn't up yet.
Oh,
But
okay.
he is a demonologist and another paranormal investigator
Mm-hmm.
out of the East Coast, and he's really neat. He's fun to talk with. We just did an episode with him. He did a journey to Romania and Transylvania, where he
Oh,
did
wow.
some
Oh, wow.
paranormal investigations
That is so
regarding
cool.
the Impaler and Dracula.
Oh, nice. That's
Oh,
right up Amy's
wow.
alley.
Yeah.
She wants to be a vampire, so that's right up her.
Oh, I would love to go there and visit all of that. Yeah, I want to go to
funny.
Transylvania. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So we've had a friend of mine on from Minnesota who is also into metaphysical things like healing and has had paranormal experiences with me, and a couple other people. And we're working on getting some other people on too for interviews.
Okay. Does she come down when you guys do it?
She's part-time by Monterey in a town called Pacific Grove.
Oh, okay.
And,
Nice.
and she's also in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So if she's in Michigan, then we do all this through Google Meet. And if
Cool.
she's here, then we go to her house and hang out.
Nice.
Pacific Grove, where they have all that cult stuff. Or am I thinking of a different grove?
No. I am not certain, actually, but I did just find out about some witchy things that happen used to happen in Watsonville, which is about 20 miles north of me. But Pacific Grove and Monterey have also been the site of, have you seen the TV show Big Little Lies?
Oh, I love that show. Yeah.
That's a lot of the seniors from this area.
Oh,
wow.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But
Nice.
so Pacific Grove used to be a vacation town, and from my understanding, only women could purchase land and houses on it.
Oh,
Really?
that's
Mhm.
interesting.
That is interesting.
They were extremely progressive. So
Yeah.
They were.
that's awesome. Are you going to branch off when it goes to your ghost tours, or are you pretty much doing the same tours over time? You know,
Good
like different
question.
locations and other places in Monterey? Because, I mean, the history is just so rich with all types of things that go on. And you're on the tour, you're extremely detailed in the knowledge in the history of Monterey and the location itself. So, I mean, it's a very great tour.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So with the company, this is the current tour, but I am working on getting them 2 more tours,
Oh,
if not
nice.
3.
Yeah.
So then people can come and try the other tours that we'll be having. Mhm. But as for Spirits and Cousins, we're checking to see what we can branch out to. I'm definitely not going to be doing a walking tour just because that's already being done.
Mhm.
But there's other things that I'm coming up with.
Nice.
Cool.
So do you mind telling us your just all of your socials and like anything good that you've got coming up that you want people to check out besides the Spirits and Cousins podcast?
For sure. So Spirits and Cousins we have on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. And then I have my QuartzEnergyWork, and that's on all of those same platforms too. And it's all one word, Quartz, QUARTZ, Energy Work.
Nice.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about that before we end the podcast about your quartz work.
Yeah. Along all of this is just all one big thing together.
Mhm.
It's along this whole line of discovering paranormal, my interest in paranormal and the different things that I can do with it. I've also discovered this ability to do energy work. And so I became a Reiki master practitioner, I think 10, 12 years ago now. And then I really enjoy helping people, and especially helping people heal or be able to move forward.
Yeah.
Because healing doesn't always look the way we think it should look or that society has told us to look. To us, I think a lot of times healing means that, all of a sudden you're all better and everything is wonderful and life is good and you're maybe not as in much pain and all those things. But healing is actually just things that help us move forward.
And it takes time and work.
Yeah. And so what I do with the energy work, I do some hands-on healing that I do with Reiki and with what I'm guided to do by my higher consciousness. And then I can work on animals, and I do this thing that I'm trying to figure out what to name it, but I call it acupressure for now, where my hands are able to find spots mostly on backs, where I just push in, and then almost a pop or an instant release happened.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's interesting because a lot of people have all these different ailments, and sometimes they do need energy work. It's not about a medical aspect or a pill, or the doctor's like, oh, your back is out of alignment, or you're having this medical problem and you need to take this particular pill. But a lot of times I do hear that people will go to energy workers and they will somehow alleviate those issues. And it could have been some kind of oppression with them. It could have been just some energy that was in them that was negative, and somehow they were able to release it. A lot of this stuff we didn't have back, centuries ago. And we had energy work, we had crystals, we had all these things that we don't do anymore in a lot of places. A lot of them do it over in Asia and other countries, and just even acupuncture and all that type of stuff. And that modern medicine they frown upon. So I find that very interesting and really awesome that you're doing that.
I enjoy it, and it's helped me. That's actually how I got into it. I was having kidney stone after kidney stone after kidney stone, and the doctors could not figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually a boss of mine was like, you can't keep taking all this time off of work.
Yeah.
Go see my energy healer. And I was like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so I went and saw the energy healer, and she got rid of my kidney stones, which is not necessarily the norm also. Yeah. That's not necessarily the norm. And I've had minimal sense, but I was having a lot for quite a while until then. And she just helped me heal that area and the trauma I'd sustained that caused the kidney stones. And I've had minimal sense.
I've heard other energy workers and healers say something similar, that it helps them as much as it helps their patients.
Mm-hmm.
It's healing for them too.
It
That's
is.
interesting.
Yeah. And when I work on other people, I always set that intention too of like, hey, universal energy.
Yeah.
Heal us.
That can be healing me at the same time. Might as well.
Right.
Awesome.
Well, and it makes sense because the energy is kind of flowing through you and into them and through them and out of you. And so, yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I do it on myself too. It's been a really fun, all of this has been such a fun journey and very eye-awakening in terms of myself and who I want to be and who I am.
Nice.
It's brought so much joy and fun into my life.
That's incredible. That's really awesome. So if someone wants to get energy work done, how can they do that with you?
QuartzEnergyWork at gmail.com.
There we go.
There you go.
And
Definitely.
that's QUARTZ. A lot of people think it's a play off of my name.
Oh.
Quartz.
Oh, yeah.
Rock.
That's
Gotcha.
And that will be in our show description. So we definitely will have that correct. And hopefully people will hit you up for that, for Ghost Tour. Maybe you can work out something, get a little bit of energy work done before the Ghost Tour. So we'll see how Courtney has on time for something like that. But Courtney, thanks for joining us on Strange Darkness Radio. It's been amazing and incredible to have you on. I am so happy to have met you. And, the paranormal field, you meet a lot of beautiful and nice people. And I was lucky enough to come encounter with you, which was incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really, really interesting talking to you.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It's been fun talking with you. Oh, here's another cat. Talking with you guys too. Excuse my cat.
So people out there, go ahead and check out her podcast, Spirits and Cousins, and go on the Monterey Ghost Tour. It's an incredible tour. And she's very, very knowledgeable in the history and in what goes on. And don't be a scaredy cat like Amy. Go ahead and...
Take the tour.
It's okay to be a scaredy cat.
It's okay, but it'll be all right. Nothing will happen to you. But yeah, no, I'm just messing with Amy. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us all on tonight's show. Ladies, anything left to say? Anything else?
No, it's been a really good night. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking to Courtney. She's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just thank you so much. And I just want to say one thing. Earlier you said this field that you're in has been eye awakening. I think you meant to say eye opening, but I actually love that you said eye awakening because it's like it's awakening your third eye. So I love that. I'm going to use that from now on.
That's the thing. She probably meant it that way, Courtney.
Maybe you did.
I did, but that's okay.
I love it. I love that. It has been so amazing
for me to be able to have this in my life, the paranormal, the metaphysical, all of that. It's helped me figure out just more of me.
Yeah.
And I've always been a very different or quirky person. I've always been that the independent person who is very curious about the world and different things in it. And this is just continuing me on that journey.
I think we can all relate to that.
Oh, for sure.
It is awakening.
And I just want to say one last thing before we go, leave you guys with a little bit of a cliffhanger, interesting tea that Carolyn might share at one point along with what she said earlier in the pod. But Carolyn, I could have swore that you have a Monterey story that involves water and a body. I'm going to repeat that.
Water and what?
I'm going to repeat that again. Water and a body. But we'll just hold off on that. It is a Monterey story, so I've heard, and we'll definitely prod her more for that particular.
We'll get into it next week for sure.
For sure.
I'm curious to know what it is.
She didn't even know.
I hope you know what
you're talking about.
We're going to.
Well, we know about it.
We know about it. So.
Oh God! All right. Next week
might be something she locked out of her mind, but next week. Next week.
Oh, that.
Yes. Okay. There it goes.
Yep. We'll talk about it next week, guys, for sure.
Them sparks are flying.
It's a good one.
Yes, it really is. So yes, Carolyn does have a great and interesting Monterey story that we couldn't get into tonight, but we will.
As your journey through the shadow realms of Strange Darkness Radio concludes, remember that you unlock the door to the paranormal with the key of imagination. Beyond it lies another dimension, a dimension of eerie soundscapes, chilling sights, and the profound depths of the mind. You're venturing into a land of both haunting shadows and tangible substance, where the ethereal meets the corporeal, and ideas take on a spectral form. You've just crossed over into the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. In the vast expanse of the paranormal, there exists a fifth dimension, extending beyond the known realms of our understanding. It is a dimension vast as the cosmos and eternal as infinity, a mysterious terrain between the illumination of light and the depths of shadow. This is the middle ground between the empirical and the supernatural, where fears fester in the pit of humanity's soul and knowledge ascends to its zenith. Welcome to the dimension of imagination, an area we dub the Strange Darkness Radio Zone. As you conclude your journey with us, remember that you're departing this peculiar zone, a place where reality intertwines with the surreal. Be cautious as you step out, for you may find that the boundaries between the normal and the paranormal blur, leaving you forever in the lingering embrace of the unknown. Until next time, farewell from the depths of the Strange Darkness Radio Zone.